It's our 18th anniversary, and I'm sitting in Chez Laurent, the fanciest restaurant this dying Maine town has to offer, watching my wife Emily lean across the white tablecloth with fire in her eyes. Yes, I slept with Richard, she hisses, her perfectly manicured fingers gripping her wine glass like a weapon. And I don't regret it one damn bit, Jack. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. I take a slow sip of my bourbon, letting the burn settle in my throat before I respond. The irony isn't lost on me. I'm a contractor who builds things, and my marriage just got demolished in 30 seconds flat. Well, honey, I say, keeping my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. That's interesting timing, because tomorrow's announcement is going to break more than just your little secret. Emily's face goes pale beneath her expensive makeup. She's always been beautiful. That's how she landed the job at Pinnacle Real Estate, working under Richard Blackwood, the sleaziest developer this side of Portland. At 42, she still turns heads, but right now she looks like she's seen a ghost. What announcement? She whispers. I lean back in my chair, savoring the moment. Oh, you'll see. I've been arranging it for months. She snatches her purse, a designer thing that costs more than most people make in a week, and stands up so fast her chair nearly tips over. You're pathetic, Jack. You always have been. Richard gives me things you never could. Like what? Herpes? The couple at the next table stops eating to stare. Emily's face flushes red, and for a second I think she might throw her wine at me. Instead, she turns on her heel and storms out, her high heels clicking on the hardwood floor like gunshots. Through the window, I watch her climb into Richard's black BMW. He's waiting in the driver's seat, probably been out there the whole time. The bastard has the audacity to wave at me through the glass. I finish my bourbon and signal the waitress for another. Welcome to Millbrook, Maine. Population 3,847 and dropping every year since the paper mill closed. It's the kind of place where everyone knows everyone else's business, and secrets spread faster than black mold in a flooded basement. My name is Jack Morrison, and I've lived here my whole life. Grew up in a trailer park on the wrong side of town, worked construction since I was 16, built my own company from nothing. Morrison Contracting, we fix what's broken, which is pretty much everything in this town except the gossip mill. Emily grew up on Elm Street, the fancy part of town where the old mill owners used to live. Her daddy was a banker before the economy tanked, and she never let me forget I married up. For 18 years, I was the blue-collar husband who embarrassed her at dinner parties, the guy who showed up to charity galas with sawdust under his fingernails. But I loved her. God help me, I really did. The first crack in our marriage appeared 3 months ago. I was looking for my gym bag in the closet when I found hers instead. The zipper was open, and a folded piece of paper fell out. At first, I thought it was a grocery list or something innocent. It wasn't. Thank you for last night. You're incredible. Can't wait to see you again. -R quote. My hands shook as I read it. Richard Blackwood, her boss. The same Richard who came to our barbecues, who shook my hand and called me buddy while drinking my beer and apparently planning to screw my wife. I put the note back and didn't say anything. Instead, I started paying attention. Emily working late 3 nights a week, new lingerie she never wore for me, her phone always face down on the table, constantly buzzing with messages she'd check in the bathroom. The final confirmation came 2 weeks ago. Our daughter Emma, home from college for spring break, left her laptop open on the kitchen table. A text message popped up from Emily. Dad's being suspicious. We need to be more careful. Emma's response made my blood run cold. Maybe if you weren't so obvious. Honestly, Mom, everyone knows. Just divorce him already. My own daughter. 20 years old, studying communications at the University of Maine, and she'd been covering for her mother's affair. The girl I taught to ride a bike, who used to fall asleep on my chest watching Disney movies, thought I was the villain in this story. That's when I stopped being the nice guy. I finish my second bourbon and head home to our modest house on Maple Street. It's not much, a 1950s Cape Cod I've been renovating for 15 years, but it's mine. Every board, every nail, every coat of paint represents hours of my life. Sweat I poured into making something beautiful for my family. The house is dark when I pull into the driveway. Emily's car isn't here, which means she's still with Richard, probably at his apartment above the real estate office, doing things I don't want to think about. I grab a beer from the fridge and sit in my workshop in the basement. This is my sanctuary. Walls lined with tools I've collected over 25 years, workbench scarred from 1,000 projects, the smell of wood shavings and motor oil. It's where I come to think, to plan, to build. Tonight, I'm planning something different. Not construction, destruction. My phone buzzes. A text from Emily. Staying at Mom's tonight. We need space. I laugh out loud. Her mother's been passed for 3 years. Emily's staying at Richard's, and she doesn't even have the creativity to come up with a decent lie. I text back, "Give my regards to your mother's ghost." 3 dots appear, then disappear. She's got nothing. I open my laptop and pull up the folder I've been building for 2 months. Photos, documents, recordings, everything I need to burn their little fantasy world to the ground. Because here's the thing about small towns. Reputation is everything, and I'm about to destroy theirs. Richard Blackwood thinks he's untouchable. At 45, he's the biggest real estate developer in 3 counties. Drives a BMW, wears $1,000 suits, and treats everyone like they should be grateful for his attention. He's never worked with his hands, never built anything that mattered, never earned an honest dollar in his life. But he's got something I don't. Money, status, and apparently my wife. Had my wife. Past tense. I take another sip of beer and start typing. The first email goes to the Maine Real Estate Commission, subject line, "Ethics violation, Richard Blackwood, Pinnacle Real Estate." The second goes to the Millbrook Gazette. Our local paper is basically just gossip with a masthead, but they love a good scandal. The third goes to Emma. It's time my daughter learned the truth about her precious mother. But first, I need to pay Richard a visit. I grab my keys and head out into the Maine night. It's April, but there's still a bite in the air, the kind of cold that gets into your bones and stays there. Perfect weather for what I have in mind. Richard's apartment is above his office on Main Street, in one of the few buildings that hasn't fallen apart yet. His BMW is parked out front like a neon sign advertising his presence. I park across the street and wait. Through the second-floor window, I can see shadows moving. Emily's silhouette, unmistakable even from here. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. I pop the hood of my truck and grab the bag of tools I keep for emergencies. Sugar, sand, a few other household items that can turn a luxury car into an expensive paperweight. I learned these tricks in high school from Tommy Ricci, who used to run with the wrong crowd before he got his act together and opened the boxing gym. Speaking of Tommy, I should probably give him a call. I'm going to need someone in my corner for what's coming next. The BMW's hood isn't locked. Rich people never think anyone would dare mess with their stuff. I work quickly, efficiently, like I'm installing a faucet or wiring a ceiling fan. Sugar in the gas tank is amateur hour. What I'm doing is much more creative and a lot harder to trace. I'm just finishing up when I hear footsteps on the stairs inside the building. I close the hood and slip back to my truck, heart pounding like I'm 16 again and toilet papering the principal's house. The front door opens and Emily appears. She's wearing a silk robe that definitely doesn't belong to her. Too big, too masculine. Richard follows her out, wearing nothing but boxers and a smug grin. They're putting on a show, I realize. This isn't about passion or love. It's about humiliation. They want me to see this. Emily looks directly at me across the street. Even in the dim streetlight, I can see her smile. It's cold, calculated, the expression of someone who thinks they've already won. Richard waves again, the same little gesture he gave me at the restaurant, like he's dismissing a servant. That's when I notice the security camera mounted above the door. The red light is blinking, which means it's recording. They're documenting this moment, probably planning to use it against me somehow. Fine. Let them have their little victory lap. Tomorrow, the real game begins. I start my truck and drive away, leaving them standing there in their underwear like the cheap, pathetic people they've become. In my rearview mirror, I see Emily throw her head back and laugh. She won't be laughing for long. The next morning starts with a phone call from Emma. I'm in the kitchen, drinking coffee and reading the paper like it's any other day, when her name pops up on my screen. "Dad?" Her voice is shaky, uncertain. "We need to talk." "Good morning to you too, sweetheart?" Just don't. Mom told me what happened last night, about the restaurant. I lean back in my chair, savoring the moment. "And what exactly did she tell you?" "That you threatened her. That you've been following her around town, making her life miserable." "Interesting story. Did she mention the part where she's been screwing her boss for the past 6 months?" Silence on the other end. Then quietly, "Dad, please. This is hard enough already." "Hard for who, Emma?" "For you? For your mother? What about me? What about the guy who's been paying your college tuition while his wife spreads her legs for every rich asshole in town?" "God, you're disgusting." "No, sweetheart. I'm honest. There's a difference." She hangs up on me. I'm not surprised. Emma's always been more like her mother than she cares to admit. Image over substance, feelings over facts, always looking for the easy way out. I finish my coffee and head to work. Morrison Contracting has 3 jobs running this week. A kitchen renovation on Pine Street, a deck replacement for the Hendersons, and a bathroom remodel for old Mrs. Patterson. Honest work, the kind that builds calluses and character. My crew is already at the Pine Street house when I arrive. Danny Kowalski and Mike Santos, two guys I've worked with for over a decade. They're good men. Show up on time, work hard, don't ask too many questions when the boss is having a bad day. "Morning, Jack," Danny says, not looking up from the cabinet he's installing. "You look like hell." "Feel worse. Emily and I had words last night." Mike whistles low. "That explains why she was at the diner this morning with Mr. BMW. I freeze. "What?" "Yeah, saw them at Rosie's around 7. Making quite the scene, if you know what I mean. Hands all over each other, whispering like teenagers." Danny finally looks up. "Jesus, Mike." "Read the room." "It's fine," I say, though it's not. They're flaunting it now, making sure the whole town knows. This isn't just an affair anymore, it's psychological warfare. Let's get back to work. But I can't concentrate. Every time I try to focus on measurements or materials, I see Emily's face from last night. That cold smile, the way she looked at me like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. By lunch, the whole crew knows something's wrong. I've measured the same piece of trim 4 times and still can't get it right. My hands are shaking, and not from caffeine. "Boss," Danny says, pulling me aside, "why don't you take the afternoon off? We got this. I'm fine." "No, you're not, and that's okay. But maybe you should talk to someone. Tommy, maybe?" Tommy Ricci. My best friend since high school, owner of Millbrook Boxing Gym, the only place in town where you can still settle things the old-fashioned way. He's also an ex-cop who knows where all the bodies are buried, metaphorically speaking. I leave the crew to finish the cabinets and drive across town to the gym. It's in an old warehouse near the defunct mill, the kind of place that smells like sweat and dreams and disappointment. Perfect for my current mood. Tommy's in the ring with a kid who can't be more than 16, teaching him how to throw a proper jab. He's 50 now, gray around the temples, but still built like the linebacker he was in high school. "Jack," he calls out when he sees me. "Hang on a minute." He finishes with the kid and climbs out of the ring, grabbing a towel to wipe his face. "You look terrible, buddy. What's eating you?" I tell him everything. The affair, the humiliation, Emily's performance last night. Tommy listens without interrupting, nodding in all the right places, his cop instincts still sharp after 15 years. "So what's your play?" he asks when I'm finished. "I want to hurt them, both of them. Make them pay for what they've done. Legally, right?" "Of course." Tommy grins. "Good, because I might have some ideas." He leads me to his office, a cluttered space filled with boxing memorabilia and old police reports he uses for consulting work. He opens a filing cabinet and pulls out a thick folder. "Richard Blackwood," he says, dropping it on the desk. "I've been keeping an eye on him for years." The guy's dirty as they come. I open the folder and start reading. Building permits that were fast-tracked without proper inspections. Zoning variances that shouldn't have been approved. A pattern of bribes and kickbacks that would make a Chicago alderman blush. "This is gold, Tommy. How did you—" I still have friends on the force, and Richard's made a lot of enemies over the years. People talk. Can we use this? Not directly, but it gives us leverage. And there's more. He pulls out another folder, this one labeled Emily Morrison, my wife's maiden name. "Tommy, what the hell?" "Relax. It's all public record. Credit reports, employment history, that kind of thing. Did you know she lied on her real estate license application?" I stare at the documents. Emily claimed to have a business degree from the University of Maine. According to these records, she never graduated. She was 3 credits short, dropped out to marry me, and never went back. "She's been living a lie for 20 years, I whisper. Gets better. Check out page 4. Page 4 is a credit report showing massive debt I never knew about. Credit cards in her maiden name, personal loans, even a second mortgage on the house I thought we owned free and clear. She's been bleeding us dry, I say. And guess who co-signed most of these loans? I flip to the signature page and see Richard Blackwood's name. He's been financing my wife's spending habits, probably in exchange for services rendered. I'm going to destroy them, I say. Easy, Tiger. We do this smart, we do this legal, and we do it so they never see it coming. Tommy's right. I've been thinking like a wounded husband when I should be thinking like a businessman. This isn't about emotion, it's about strategy. We spend the next 2 hours planning. Tommy has contacts at the State Real Estate Commission, the Better Business Bureau, even the IRS. Richard's empire is built on quicksand, and we're about to start an earthquake. What about Emily? I ask. Leave her to me. I know a private investigator who specializes in adultery cases. By the time we're done, she won't be able to get a job selling used cars in Bangor. I'm starting to feel better when my phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Check your Facebook. I open the app and immediately wish I hadn't. Emma has posted a long status update, complete with photos from our family vacation last summer. The caption makes my blood boil. Sometimes the people we love most are the ones who hurt us deepest. My dad is going through a difficult time right now and taking it out on everyone around him. Please keep our family in your thoughts as we navigate this challenging period. #, family first. #, love wins. The comments are already pouring in. Friends and neighbors offering support, asking what happened, speculating about our private business. Emma has turned our divorce into a social media circus, and she's painted me as the villain. That little witch, I mutter. Tommy reads over my shoulder and whistles. Your daughter's got some serious manipulation skills. Wonder where she learned that? Her mother. You need to respond to this. Control the narrative before it gets out of hand. He's right. In small towns, perception is reality. If I let Emma's version of events stand, I'll be the crazy husband who couldn't handle his wife's success. I start typing a response, then delete it, then type another one and delete that too. Anything I say will sound defensive, desperate. I need something bigger, more dramatic. I have an idea, I tell Tommy, but I'm going to need your help. What kind of help? The kind that might get us both in trouble. Tommy grins. Now you're talking my language. That evening, I drive to the Iron Horse Bar, Millbrook's premier dive establishment. It's the kind of place where the beer is cheap, the music is loud, and everyone minds their own business. Perfect for what I have in mind. Richard is already there when I arrive, holding court at a corner table with 3 of his real estate buddies. Emily sits beside him, laughing at something one of the other men said. She's wearing a tight dress I've never seen before, probably bought with Richard's money. I order a beer and take a seat at the bar, close enough to hear their conversation, but far enough away to avoid immediate confrontation. They're talking about a new development project, some luxury condos they want to build on the lake. The permits are all lined up, Richard says. Should break ground by summer. What about the environmental impact study? One of his friends asks. Richard waves dismissively. Already taken care of. I know people. Of course he does. Richard always knows people. That's how he's gotten away with cutting corners for so long. I'm nursing my second beer when Emily notices me. She whispers something to Richard, and they both look in my direction. Richard's face hardens, but Emily just smiles that same cold smile from last night. They're trying to provoke me, waiting for me to make a scene so they can play the victims. Instead, I raise my beer in a mock toast and turn back to the bar. Jack Morrison, a voice says behind me. Fancy meeting you here? I turn around to see Detective Ray Castellano, Tommy's old partner from the state police. He's off duty, wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, but cops never really stop being cops. Ray, how's retirement treating you? Can't complain. Though I hear you're having some domestic troubles. Word travels fast in small towns. Nothing I can't handle. That's good to hear. Because it would be a shame if things got complicated. He's warning me off, probably at Tommy's request. Tommy wants to make sure I don't do anything stupid that could blow up our carefully laid plans. Don't worry, I tell him. I'm a model citizen. Glad to hear it. Enjoy your evening. Ray heads to the back of the bar, but I know he's still watching. Which is fine. I want witnesses for what happens next. I finish my beer and walk over to Richard's table. The conversation stops as I approach, and I can feel the tension ratchet up several notches. Evening, folks, I say pleasantly. Mind if I join you? Actually, we do, Richard says. This is a private conversation. Oh, I'm sure it is. Talking about those luxury condos, right? The ones with the expedited permits? Richard's face goes pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. The Lakeside Development Project. Funny thing about those environmental impact studies, they're public record. Anyone can request copies. I pull out my phone and show him a screenshot of an email I sent earlier. Already submitted my request this afternoon. Should be interesting reading. Emily grabs Richard's arm. Let's go. No, wait, Richard says, standing up. He's bigger than me, probably outweighs me by 30 pounds, but I can see the fear in his eyes. What do you want? Want? Nothing you can give me. You already took what mattered most. Look, Jack, I know this is difficult. Difficult? I laugh, loud enough for the whole bar to hear. No, Richard. Difficult is working 16-hour days to build something from nothing. Difficult is staying faithful to someone who doesn't deserve it. What you did? That was easy. That was just being a piece of shit. Screw you, Emily hisses, standing up so fast her chair tips over. You self-righteous asshole. You think you're so much better than everyone else, but you're just a loser who never amounted to anything. The entire bar has gone quiet now. Everyone's watching, waiting to see what happens next. This is the moment that will define the rest of this war. How I handle my wife's public humiliation attempt. I smile and pull out my phone again. You know what, Emily? You're absolutely right. I am a loser, but at least I'm not a whore. I tap the screen, and suddenly the bar's sound system crackles to life. A familiar voice fills the room. Emily's voice, breathy and desperate. Oh God, Richard, yes. Right there. Don't stop. I love you so much more than him. The recording is crystal clear, obviously taken during one of their encounters. Emily's face goes white as she realizes what's happening. Richard lunges for my phone, but I'm already backing away. How did you? Emily starts. Your phone automatically backs up to our shared cloud account, honey. Has for years. Amazing what people will record these days. The bar erupts in whispers and laughter. Emily is crying now, mascara running down her cheeks like black tears. Richard looks like he wants to kill me, but he's smart enough to know that any violence will only make things worse. You bastard, Emily whispers. No, sweetheart. That would be Richard's kid when his wife finds out about this. Oh wait, did I mention I already sent copies to Linda Blackwood, along with some very interesting photos? Richard's face goes from red to purple. You bastard. Probably. But I'm not the one who's about to lose everything. I pocket my phone and head for the door, leaving them standing there in the wreckage of their reputations. Behind me, I can hear Emily sobbing and Richard cursing, but I don't look back. Outside, Tommy is waiting by my truck, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. How'd you get the recording? He asks. I didn't. But they don't know that. You magnificent bastard. That was just a bluff? The best kind. Now they'll spend the next week wondering what else I might have. We're laughing when my phone buzzes. A text from Emma. What the hell is wrong with you? I show Tommy the message. He shakes his head. Your daughter's got some growing up to do. She's about to get a crash course. I text Emma back. Ask your mother. She's the expert on what's wrong. 3 dots appear, then disappear. Emma's got nothing to say to that. Tommy claps me on the shoulder. This is just the beginning, you know. They're going to come back at you hard. Let them try. I've got nothing left to lose. But even as I say it, I know it's not true. I still have my business, my reputation, my self-respect, and I'm about to put all of it on the line for revenge. The war has officially begun. The fallout from the Iron Horse incident hits faster than I expected. By morning, half the town has heard some version of what happened, and my phone won't stop ringing. The first call comes from Danny at 6 a.m. Boss, you need to see the paper. The Millbrook Gazette has never been accused of quality journalism, but they outdid themselves this time. The front page headline reads, Local Contractors Public Meltdown, with a photo of me from last year's Chamber of Commerce dinner. The article, written by Jennifer Walsh, a friend of Emily's from their book club, paints me as an unstable husband who publicly humiliated his wife over alleged marital problems. There's no mention of the affair, no context for my actions, just a one-sided hit piece designed to make me look like a monster. They want a monster, I say to my empty kitchen. I'll give them Godzilla. The second call comes from Mrs. Patterson, the sweet old lady whose bathroom I'm supposed to renovate this week. Jack, dear, she says in her quavery voice, I'm afraid we need to postpone the bathroom project. My daughter thinks it might be best to wait until things settle down. Translation. Your reputation is toxic, and we don't want to be associated with you. The third call is from the bank. Apparently, Emily has been busy this morning, trying to freeze our joint accounts and claim I'm mentally unstable. They can't do anything without both signatures, but they're concerned about the situation and want to schedule a meeting. By noon, I've lost 2 jobs and gained a reputation as the crazy husband who can't handle his wife leaving him. Emily and Richard are winning the public relations war, and I'm starting to understand why Tommy warned me about fighting dirty. I'm sitting in my workshop, staring at the wall and drinking my 4th beer of the day, when Emma shows up. She doesn't knock, just walks in through the kitchen door like she still lives here. Dad, we need to talk. She looks terrible. Her eyes are red from crying, her usually perfect hair is a mess, and she's wearing the same clothes from yesterday. College has made her soft. She's not ready for this kind of family warfare. What's there to talk about, Emma? You made your position pretty clear on Facebook. I was trying to protect Mom. From what? The consequences of her actions? Emma sits down across from me, and for a moment she looks like the little girl who used to help me with woodworking projects in this same basement. She loves him, Dad. Really loves him. More than she ever loved you. The words hit harder than I expected. And that makes it okay? 18 years of marriage, and she gets to throw it away because she found someone with a bigger bank account? It's not about money. Bullshit. It's always about money with your mother. Check her credit cards if you don't believe me. Check the second mortgage she took out on this house without telling me. Emma's face goes pale. What second mortgage? I pull out the documents Tommy gave me and slide them across the workbench. Emma reads in silence, her expression changing from confusion to horror. She owes $80,000, she whispers. That's just the start. Your mother has been living a double life for years, and Richard's been financing it. Your college tuition? That's not coming from my construction business, sweetheart. That's coming from your mother's sugar daddy. Emma starts crying again, but these are different tears. These are the tears of someone whose worldview just collapsed. I didn't know, she says. Of course you didn't, because your mother is very good at playing the victim, always has been. What are you going to do? Whatever it takes. Emma looks up at me and I see something new in her eyes. Fear. Dad, please don't do anything crazy. I can't lose both parents. You won't lose me, Emma, but you might want to prepare yourself for some hard truths about your mother. After Emma leaves, I call Tommy. We meet at the gym after hours when it's just us and the heavy bags and the smell of honest sweat. They're playing for keeps, I tell him. Emily's trying to freeze the bank accounts, and Richard's got his media friends painting me as an unstable husband. Expected as much. Look, rich people always try to control the narrative. So what's our next move? Tommy grins and pulls out another folder. Remember that private investigator I mentioned? Well, he's been busy. The photos are damning. Emily and Richard at a hotel in Portland, entering and leaving at different times, but clearly together. Richard paying for expensive dinners, jewelry, even a weekend trip to Boston. But the real gold is in the financial records. He's been embezzling from his own company, Tommy explains, skimming money from development projects and funneling it through shell companies. Your wife's been helping him launder the money through fake real estate transactions. She's a criminal. They both are. The question is, what do you want to do about it? I study the documents, feeling a cold satisfaction settle in my chest. This isn't just about adultery anymore. It's about fraud, embezzlement, maybe even tax evasion, the kind of crimes that destroy lives and end careers. I want to burn it all down. Jack, think about this carefully. Once we cross this line, there's no going back. Emma could get caught in the crossfire. Emma made her choice when she posted that Facebook status. She chose her mother over the truth. Tommy nods slowly. Okay, but we do this smart. No emotional outbursts, no public scenes. We let the evidence speak for itself. We spend the next 3 hours planning. Tommy will feed the financial information to his contacts at the FBI's white-collar crime unit. I'll handle the local angle, making sure everyone in Millbrook knows exactly what kind of people Emily and Richard really are. The first stop is Richard's apartment. It's 2 a.m. when I arrive, and the building is dark except for the security light above the entrance. I've brought tools, but not the kind I usually use for construction. The BMW is parked in its usual spot, gleaming under the streetlight like a beacon of privilege. I pop the hood and get to work, but this time I'm not just disabling the engine, I'm sending a message. 20 minutes later, I step back to admire my handiwork. The car looks normal from the outside, but Richard's going to have some interesting surprises when he tries to drive it tomorrow. The sugar in the gas tank is just the beginning. I've also loosened the oil drain plug, disconnected the brake lights, and left a few choice words scratched into the paint, where he won't see them until he's at the car wash. But the real masterpiece is what I've done to his apartment. The building's security is a joke, a simple lock that any contractor knows how to bypass. Richard's place is exactly what I expected. Expensive furniture, abstract art, a wine collection that probably costs more than most people's cars. I don't steal anything. That would be too simple. Instead, I rearrange things. Move his furniture 6 inches to the left, swap the contents of his dresser drawers, replace his expensive wine with cheap bottles from the grocery store, change his shower settings so the water comes out scalding hot. But the piece de resistance is in his bedroom. I find the silk sheets Emily mentioned, the ones she said were so much softer than our cotton ones at home. I carefully remove them, take them to the bathroom, and use them to clean the toilet. Then I put them back on the bed, perfectly made, hospital corners and all. Richard will never be able to prove I was here, but he'll know. Every time he lies down on those sheets, he'll think about where they've been. I'm leaving through the back exit when I hear voices in the alley. Emily and Richard, coming back from whatever late-night adventure they've been on. I duck behind a dumpster and listen. I can't believe he humiliated me like that, Emily is saying, in front of everyone. Don't worry, baby. We'll make him pay for what he did. How? I've got connections. People who can make his life very difficult. His business license, his contractor's permits, even his insurance. By the time I'm done with him, Jack Morrison won't be able to get work cleaning toilets. They disappear into the building, and I slip away into the night. But Richard's words echo in my head. He's planning to destroy my business, the one thing I've built with my own hands. That crosses a line I didn't even know existed. The next morning brings chaos. Richard's BMW won't start, and when the tow truck arrives, the driver discovers the oil leak I created. Richard's screaming at the mechanic, demanding to know how this could happen when someone points out the scratches in the paint. I watch from across the street, sipping coffee from a thermos, as Richard reads my message. Home wrecker, carved in neat block letters along the passenger side door. His face turns purple with rage. He looks around wildly, probably hoping to spot me, but I'm well hidden behind a delivery truck. Emily comes running out of the building in her robe, and they have a heated argument right there on Main Street. This is better than cable TV. But the real show starts when Richard goes back upstairs to shower before work. I can hear his screams of frustration from the street as he discovers my interior decorating. The scalding water, the rearranged furniture, the wine collection that's now worth about $30 instead of $3,000. By lunch, the whole town is talking about Richard's bad luck. Car trouble, plumbing problems, even rumors that someone broke into his apartment. The police take a report, but there's no evidence of actual breaking and entering. Just a series of unfortunate coincidences. I'm feeling pretty good about myself when Tommy calls with bad news. Richard made some calls this morning. Your contractor's license is under review, and the state's opened an investigation into your business practices. What business practices? I run a clean operation. Doesn't matter. He's got friends in the licensing department, and they're looking for any excuse to shut you down. Missed inspections, permit violations, customer complaints, anything they can use. My good mood evaporates. Richard's fighting back, using his connections to attack my livelihood. This is exactly what I was afraid of. He's got resources I can't match, influence I can't compete with. How long do I have? Maybe a week before they suspend your license pending investigation. After that, you're out of business until they clear you, which could take months. Bastard. It gets worse. Emily filed a restraining order this morning. Claims you've been harassing her, following her around town, making threats. That's bullshit. Doesn't matter if it's true. The judge signed it based on her testimony and the incident at the Iron Horse. You can't go within 100 yards of her, Richard. I feel the walls closing in. They're using the legal system against me, turning my own actions into weapons. Every move I've made, every small victory I've achieved, is being twisted into evidence of my instability. What about the financial crimes? The embezzlement evidence? FBI's interested, but these things take time. Months, maybe years. Meanwhile, they're destroying you right now. I hang up and sit in my truck, staring at the construction site where my crew is working without me. Danny and Mike are good men, but they can't run the business if I lose my license. 25 years of building something from nothing, and it could all disappear because I fell in love with the wrong woman. That's when I realize I've been thinking about this all wrong. I've been playing defense, reacting to their moves instead of making my own, but Emily and Richard made one crucial mistake. They underestimated how far I'm willing to go. They want to destroy my business? Fine. But I'm going to make sure they go down with me. I pull out my phone and call the one person who can help me end this war. Richard's ex-wife, Linda. Mrs. Blackwood, this is Jack Morrison. I think it's time we had a conversation. The game is about to change. Linda Blackwood agrees to meet me at a coffee shop in the next town over, away from Millbrook's gossip network. She's nothing like what I expected. Mid-40s, attractive in an understated way, dressed in jeans and a sweater instead of the designer clothes I associated with Richard's world. And I wondered when you'd call, she says, sliding into the booth across from me. I heard about what happened at the Iron Horse. Word travels fast, especially when it involves my ex-husband making an ass of himself in public. She stirs her coffee thoughtfully. Richard always did like an audience for his conquests. How long were you married? 15 years. Divorced 2 years ago when I caught him with his secretary. Your wife isn't his first affair, Jack. She's just the latest. That stings more than I expected. I thought Emily was special, that Richard saw something in her worth destroying his marriage for. Turns out she's just another notch on his belt. I'm sorry, Linda says, reading my expression. I know that hurts. But you need to understand what kind of man you're dealing with. Richard doesn't love your wife. He loves the thrill of taking something that belongs to someone else. What do you know about his business practices? Linda's expression hardens. You mean the embezzlement? The shell companies? The bribes to city officials? I know plenty. I was married to him, remember? I saw the books, heard the phone calls, watched him buy his way out of trouble for over a decade. Why didn't you report him? I tried. Filed complaints with the state attorney general, the FBI, even the IRS. But Richard has friends in high places, and I was just a bitter ex-wife trying to cause trouble. Nobody took me seriously. They might take me seriously, especially if I have evidence. Linda reaches into her purse and pulls out a flash drive. Everything's on here. Bank records, email correspondence, recorded phone calls, enough to put him away for 10 years if the right people see it. Why are you helping me? Because Richard destroyed my life, and now he's trying to destroy yours. Because I'm tired of watching him hurt people and get away with it. She pauses, then adds quietly, and because I know what it's like to lose everything to someone who doesn't deserve it. I take the flash drive, feeling its weight in my palm. This is it, the nuclear option. With this evidence, I can end Richard's career, destroy his reputation, maybe even send him to prison. What about Emily? I ask. What about her? She made her choice. If she goes down with Richard, that's her problem. Linda's right, but it's still hard to accept. Despite everything Emily's done, part of me still loves the woman I married 18 years ago. The woman who laughed at my jokes, who cried when we lost our first baby, who held my hand through my father's funeral. But that woman is gone, replaced by someone I don't recognize. Someone who can look me in the eye and lie without flinching, who can turn my own daughter against me, who can destroy everything we built together for a few months of excitement with a rich asshole. There's something else, Linda says. Richard's planning something big for this weekend. Some kind of public event where he's going to announce his engagement to Emily. My blood runs cold. Engagement? Saturday night at the Lakeside Country Club. He's invited half the town, including all his business contacts and political friends. He wants to make a statement that he's won, that you're yesterday's news. The bastard. He's also planning to use the event to announce his biggest development project yet. Those luxury condos on the lake. He's got the permits fast-tracked, the environmental studies faked, and the city council bought and paid for. It's going to make him millions. I stare at the flash drive, understanding dawning. Richard isn't just stealing my wife. He's using our divorce as a distraction while he pulls off the biggest scam of his career. When is the announcement? Saturday at 8 p.m., black tie affair, very exclusive. The kind of event where reputations are made and broken. I need to be there. Jack, that's a terrible idea. Richard will have security, and you've got a restraining order. I'll figure something out. Linda studies my face, seeing something there that makes her nod slowly. You're not just going to expose the financial crimes, are you? You're planning something bigger. Richard wants to make a statement? Fine. I'll make sure it's one nobody forgets. We part ways in the parking lot, but not before Linda gives me one last piece of advice. Be careful, Jack. Richard's dangerous when he's cornered. He's ruined people for less than what you're planning. So have I. That afternoon, I call an emergency meeting with my crew. Danny and Mike show up at the workshop looking worried. Word about the license investigation has gotten around, and they're afraid for their jobs. Boys, I tell them, I'm going to be straight with you. My contractor's license might get suspended next week. If that happens, Morrison Contracting is done. Danny swears under his breath. Mike just stares at his boots. But, I continue, I'm not going down without a fight. And I need your help. I explain the situation. Not all of it, but enough. The affair, the financial crimes, Richard's plan to destroy my business. By the time I'm finished, both men are furious. That bastard, Danny says. After everything you've done for this town, all the jobs you've created, the families you've helped. What do you need us to do? Mike asks. I need alibis for Saturday night, and I need you both to forget we had this conversation. They exchange glances, then Danny grins. What conversation? Saturday arrives with unseasonable warmth for April in Maine. Perfect weather for the kind of outdoor event Richard has planned at the country club. I spend the day making final preparations, checking and double-checking every detail. The Lakeside Country Club sits on 50 acres of prime real estate overlooking Mirror Lake. It's where Millbrook's elite gather to congratulate themselves on their success and plan their next conquest. I've never been inside. Contractors don't get invited to these kinds of parties. But tonight's different. Tonight, I'm not going as a guest. I park my truck in the woods behind the clubhouse and change into the black clothes I brought. The security is light. A couple of rent-a-cops at the front entrance, more for show than actual protection. Rich people never expect anyone to challenge them on their own turf. The kitchen entrance is unguarded, probably because the catering staff has been going in and out all day. I slip inside during a busy moment, grab an apron and a tray, and suddenly I'm invisible. Just another server in a room full of people who never look at the help. The main ballroom is spectacular. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, enough flowers to stock a funeral home. About 200 guests in tuxedos and evening gowns, sipping champagne and pretending to enjoy each other's company. I spot Emily immediately. She's wearing a red dress I've never seen before, probably costs more than most people make in a month. She's radiant, glowing with the kind of happiness I haven't seen in years. It should make me jealous, but instead it just makes me angry. She was never this happy with me. Richard stands beside her, working the room like a politician, shaking hands, telling jokes, playing the role of successful businessman and devoted fiancé. He's good at it. I have to give him credit for that. I move through the crowd, serving drinks and listening to conversations. The talk is all about money, real estate deals, stock portfolios, vacation homes in Florida. These people live in a different world from the rest of us, insulated from consequences by their wealth and connections. At 8 o'clock sharp, Richard takes the stage. The room falls silent as he adjusts the microphone and flashes his politician's smile. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. As many of you know, this has been a year of significant changes in my personal life. Polite laughter from the audience. A few people glance in my direction, but the server's uniform makes me invisible. I'm thrilled to announce my engagement to a remarkable woman, Emily Morrison. Applause as Emily joins him on stage. She's crying happy tears, and for a moment, I remember why I fell in love with her all those years ago. But that's not the only exciting news I have to share tonight, Richard continues. I'm also pleased to announce the groundbreaking of Lakeside Luxury Residences, the most ambitious development project in our region's history. He clicks a remote, and a projection screen descends behind him. Artists' renderings of luxury condos, complete with marina, golf course, and spa facilities. 200 units starting at $500,000, with groundbreaking scheduled for next month. This project represents a $30 million investment in our community's future. More applause. Richard's beaming, Emily's glowing, and everyone in the room is calculating how much money they can make off this deal. That's when I step forward. Excuse me, I call out, loud enough for everyone to hear. I have a question about those environmental impact studies. The room goes silent. Richard's smile falters as he spots me in the crowd. Emily's face goes white. Security? Richard shouts, but I'm already moving toward the stage. See, the thing about environmental studies, I continue, pulling out my phone and connecting it to the room's sound system, is that they're supposed to be accurate, not fabricated to hide wetland destruction and endangered species habitats. Get him out of here, Richard screams, but the rent-a-cops are too far away and the crowd is too thick. I tap my phone screen and suddenly the room fills with the sound of Richard's voice. The EPA will never know. We'll have the condos built and sold before they figure out what we've done to the lake. It's one of the recordings Linda gave me, crystal clear and obviously damning. The crowd starts murmuring, some people pulling out their own phones to record what's happening. That's not all, I announce. Let's talk about those expedited permits. Amazing what you can accomplish when you're bribing city officials. Another recording plays, this one featuring Richard discussing payoffs to the zoning board. The murmuring gets louder, more agitated. Emily tries to grab the microphone from Richard, but he pushes her away. This is all fabricated! This man is mentally unstable. Am I? I pull out the flash drive Linda gave me and wave it in the air, because I've got bank records, email correspondence, and recorded phone calls that say otherwise. 2 years' worth of evidence showing embezzlement, fraud, and conspiracy. That's when Richard snaps. He jumps off the stage and charges toward me, his face purple with rage. I'll destroy you. The crowd parts as he rushes forward, but I'm ready for him. 25 years of construction work have kept me in decent shape, and Richard's spent too many years behind a desk. When he swings at me, I duck easily and let his momentum carry him into a table full of champagne glasses. The crash is spectacular. Crystal shatters, champagne sprays everywhere, and Richard goes down hard in a puddle of expensive alcohol and broken glass. Richard! Emily screams, rushing to help him up. But he's not seriously hurt, just humiliated and soaking wet. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce, climbing onto the stage and grabbing the microphone. I'd like to present the real Richard Blackwood, embezzler, fraud, and homewrecker. The man who's been stealing from his own company to finance his affairs. The crowd is in chaos now. Some people are trying to leave, others are recording everything on their phones, and a few are actually applauding. The rent-a-cops finally arrive, but they're not sure what to do. Technically, I haven't broken any laws. This is all lies, Richard shouts from the floor, but nobody's listening to him anymore. They're too busy watching the show. Oh, and Emily, I call out, spotting my wife in the crowd. I have something for you too. I click to another recording, this one featuring Emily's voice. Jack's such a pathetic loser. I can't believe I wasted 18 years of my life with him. The intimacy is terrible. He has no ambition, and he embarrasses me in front of my friends. Emily's face crumbles as her own words echo through the ballroom. Several people gasp, and I can see phones being raised to capture her reaction. That's not... You took that out of context, she stammers. Did I? Because there's more where that came from. Hours of recordings, actually. Amazing what people will say when they think nobody's listening. The police arrive just as I'm finishing my presentation. Detective Ray Castellano leads the charge, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else in the world. Jack Morrison, he says wearily. You're under arrest for trespassing, disturbing the peace, and violation of a restraining order. I don't resist as he cuffs me. I've accomplished what I came here to do. Richard's reputation is destroyed, Emily's exposed as a gold-digging adulteress, and everyone in Millbrook's power structure knows exactly what kind of people they've been associating with. As Ray leads me toward the exit, I catch sight of Emma in the crowd. She's been recording everything on her phone, but now she's just staring at me with an expression I can't read. Disappointment, admiration, fear? Dad! She calls out as I pass. Was it worth it? I stop and look back at the chaos I've created. Richard's still on the floor, covered in champagne and broken glass. Emily's crying hysterically, her red dress stained and her perfect hair disheveled. Half the crowd is fleeing toward the exits, while the other half is busy uploading videos to social media. Ask me in a week, I tell Emma, when the FBI finishes going through that flash drive. Ray chuckles despite himself. You magnificent bastard, you really did it. I told you I was going to burn it all down. As we walk out of the country club, I can hear the chaos continuing behind us. Shouting voices, breaking glass, the sound of a world collapsing. Tomorrow, Richard and Emily will try to rebuild their lives from the ashes of tonight's disaster. But they'll never recover from this, not in a town like Millbrook, where reputation is everything and forgiveness is rare. I've lost my marriage, alienated my daughter, and probably destroyed my business. But I've also exposed 2 criminals, saved the lake from environmental destruction, and given this town something to talk about for the next 20 years. As Ray helps me into the back of his police car, I smile for the first time in months. Sometimes winning means losing everything else. The Millbrook jail isn't much. 3 cells in the basement of the police station, mostly used for drunk drivers and domestic disturbance calls. I spend Saturday night in cell number 2, listening to the sounds of the town above me slowly returning to normal. Ray brings me coffee and a sandwich around midnight, along with news from the outside world. Your little performance tonight has gone viral, he tells me. Someone posted the whole thing on YouTube, and it's already got 50,000 views. Good. The more people who see it, the better. FBI's interested in that flash drive you mentioned. They'll want to talk to you first thing Monday morning. I'll be here. Ray sits down on the bench across from my cell. You know, in 30 years of police work, I've never seen anyone destroy their own life so thoroughly for the sake of revenge. Sometimes destruction is necessary. You can't build something new until you tear down what's rotten. And what are you planning to build, Jack? I lean back against the cell wall and consider the question. For months, I've been focused on tearing down Richard and Emily's world, but I haven't given much thought to what comes after. I don't know yet. Maybe that's the point. Sunday passes slowly. Ray lets me have visitors, but the only person who shows up is Tommy. He brings Chinese takeout and a bottle of bourbon that he shares with the officers on duty. You crazy, he says, grinning from ear to ear. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Richard's finished. His business partners are already distancing themselves, and the city council called an emergency meeting to review all his permits. What about Emily? Packing her bags, last I heard. Word is she's moving back in with her sister in Portland. Can't show her face in Millbrook after what happened. And Emma? Tommy's expression grows serious. She's confused, Jack. Angry at you for what you did, but also angry at her mother for lying to her. Give her time. I might not have time. My contractor's license is probably gone, and I'll be lucky if I don't end up in prison myself. Maybe, but you exposed 2 criminals and saved the lake from being destroyed. That's got to count for something. Monday morning brings Agent Patricia Williams from the FBI's white-collar crime unit. She's younger than I expected, probably mid-30s, with the kind of sharp intelligence that comes from years of tracking financial criminals. Mr. Morrison, she says, settling into the interview room chair across from me. You've caused quite a stir. I had help. Yes, Mrs. Blackwood has been very cooperative. The evidence you provided is substantial. She opens a thick folder and spreads documents across the table. Bank records, email printouts, transaction summaries, the paper trail of Richard's crimes laid out in black and white. We're looking at embezzlement, fraud, money laundering, bribery of public officials, and conspiracy. Enough charges to put Mr. Blackwood away for 20 years. What about Emily? Your wife was involved in several of the money laundering schemes, but she appears to have been a willing participant rather than a mastermind. She's looking at 5 to 10 years, assuming she cooperates. The news should make me happy, but instead I just feel empty. This is what I wanted. Justice, revenge, consequences for their actions. So why do I feel like I've lost something important? What about me, I ask. You? You're a hero, Mr. Morrison. Without your evidence, we never would have caught them. I broke into Richard's apartment. I violated a restraining order. I disrupted a private event. Agent Williams smiles. Funny thing about that, we can't find any evidence of breaking and entering, and the restraining order was based on false testimony, so it's invalid. As for the country club incident, well, sometimes citizens have to take extraordinary measures to expose criminal activity. So, I'm free to go? You're free to go. I walk out of the police station into a beautiful April morning. The sun is shining, the air smells like spring, and for the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe again. But my freedom comes with a price. Morrison Contracting is finished. Even if I keep my license, no one in Millbrook will hire the crazy contractor who destroyed the biggest social event in the town's history. My marriage is over, my daughter hates me, and I'm starting from scratch at 45. I'm walking toward my truck when I see Emma waiting by the driver's door. She looks terrible. Dark circles under her eyes, wrinkled clothes, the appearance of someone who hasn't slept in days. Dad. Emma. We stare at each other for a long moment. Two people who used to be close but now feel like strangers. I saw the news, she says finally, about the FBI investigation, the charges against Mom and Richard. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. Are you? Because it seems like you planned this whole thing to hurt as many people as possible. Her words sting, but I can't deny them. Your mother made her choices, Emma. I just made sure there were consequences. And what about me? What about my choices? I believed in her, Dad. I defended her against you, and now I look like an idiot. You look like a daughter who loved her mother. There's nothing wrong with that. Emma starts crying, not the angry tears from before, but the broken sobs of someone whose world has collapsed. I don't know who to trust anymore. I don't know what's real and what's lies. My whole life feels like a joke. I want to hug her, to tell her everything will be okay, but I'm not sure she'd welcome the comfort. Instead, I just stand there, watching my daughter fall apart and knowing I'm partly responsible. The truth is real, I say finally. It's ugly and it hurts, but it's real. Your mother had an affair. She stole money. She lied to both of us for months. Those are facts, not opinions. And you? Are you real, or are you just another liar? The question cuts deep because I'm not sure of the answer. Over the past few months, I've become someone I don't recognize. Vindictive, calculating, willing to destroy everything to get revenge. Is that the real Jack Morrison, or just a mask I put on to survive this war? I don't know, I admit. I've done things I'm not proud of. Hurt people I care about. Maybe that makes me a liar too. Emma wipes her eyes and looks at me with something that might be respect. At least you're honest about it. It's all I have left. We talk for another hour, standing in the police station parking lot like refugees from our own lives. Emma tells me about the phone calls from reporters, the social media storm, the way her friends at college are treating her like a celebrity because of the viral video. I'm dropping out, she says. I can't concentrate on classes, and I can't afford tuition anyway. Not with Mom's legal bills. You don't have to do that. I'll find a way. With what money, Dad? Your business is finished, and Mom's assets are frozen pending the investigation. We're broke. She's right, of course. The financial reckoning is just beginning. Legal fees, civil lawsuits, the cost of rebuilding our lives from scratch. It's going to take years to recover, if we ever do. Maybe that's not such a bad thing, I say. Maybe we needed to lose everything to figure out what really matters. And what's that? Family. Truth. Building something real instead of living a lie. Emma considers this, then nods slowly. I want to help. Help with what? Whatever comes next. I'm tired of being a victim of other people's choices. I want to make my own. For the first time in months, I smile without any bitterness. I'd like that. We drive home together in my truck, past the construction sites where I used to work, past the real estate office where Emily used to pretend to have a career, past the country club where I burned down 2 lives and probably saved a lake. The house on Maple Street looks smaller than I remember, shabbier. The paint is peeling, the lawn needs mowing, and there's a for sale sign in the front yard that I didn't put there. Mom listed it before she left, Emma explains. Said she needed the money for legal fees. Probably for the best. Too many bad memories here anyway. Where will you go? I don't know yet. Somewhere I can start over. Maybe build something new. Emma gets out of the truck and heads for the front door, then stops and turns back. Dad, I'm proud of you. For what? For not giving up. For fighting back. For showing me that sometimes you have to burn everything down to see what's really there. She goes inside, leaving me alone in the driveway of the house I've called home for 15 years. Tomorrow, I'll start the process of rebuilding my life, finding a new place to live, figuring out how to make money without a construction business, maybe even leaving Millbrook entirely. But tonight, I just want to sit here and enjoy the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. My phone buzzes with a text message from an unknown number. Saw the video. Impressive work. If you're ever interested in a new career, call me. P. Williams, FBI. I laugh out loud. After 25 years of building things, maybe it's time to try tearing them down professionally. Across town, the lights are on at the police station, where Richard Blackwood is probably spending his first night in federal custody. Emily's sister's house in Portland is dark, hiding another broken woman trying to figure out how to rebuild her life. And somewhere in the ruins of the Lakeside Country Club's reputation, the lake itself flows clean and undisturbed, saved from destruction by one man's refusal to go quietly into the night. I start the truck and drive away from the house on Maple Street for the last time, heading toward an uncertain future with my daughter beside me and my enemies behind bars. Sometimes the best revenge is simply surviving long enough to watch your enemies destroy themselves. Sometimes burning it all down is the only way to let something new grow. Sometimes the villain wins by becoming the hero of his own story. The war is over. The real work begins now.